friends, Merrideth Jiles here with Backyard Basics. And today we're going to talk about bringing your soil back to life. Now with the drought we've had this summer, we can all see some of the results out there. Trees and shrubs looking brown and lawns looking very dead. But there's some other things that are happening that you really can't see below the soil level. Things like bacteria, fungi, and other microscopic organisms are also suffering from this heat. The good news, microbial life can be restored. There's a couple of areas we're going to talk about. First, we'll talk about your lawn or ground cover beds. One of the best things you could do would be to put down a Topdress mix. A Topdress mix is simply a very fine screened compost mixed with some sand and usually some other compounds. Now you want to spread this at about 1/4 to 1/2 inch across the entire lawn. The easiest way to do this is to make some small piles, then come back with a stiff bristled broom or a rake and spread it out as evenly as you can. If you haven't core aerated your lawn, that would be a great thing to do before you do your Topdress. Another thing you could do is apply horticultural molasses, either in a liquid or a dried form. Horticultural molasses differs from regular molasses in that it hasn't been pasteurized or had sulfites added. This means it already has some bacteria living in it, and it's an excellent food source for the bacteria, fungus, and other things that live in your soil. Another thing you could consider to feed those bacteria would be a good slow-release natural fertilizer, something like a 611, an 824, or a 911. Now, if you've got new sod or you're putting out seed, you probably don't need to worry about fertilizing so much, but something like the molasses or a compost tea would be great. Now, if you've got established trees that share the lawn, all this work you do will also help benefit them. And by far the best thing you could do would be to add an aerobic compost tea. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. Now, another area you could address would be beds or shrubs. The best way to do that is also with a Topdress, but that can be done with a regular compost. If you have mulch there, you'll want to pull that back first, and then we're going to add about 1/2 inch to a 1 inch layer of compost across the root zone. Be sure not to pile up any compost right around the stems of the plants, as that could be detrimental. Once you've got your compost there, just put your mulch back. Molasses and fertilizer, again, organic at a very low level, would also be great. And of course, as with the lawn, compost tea is one of the best ways to get microbial life back into your soil. So what is this compost tea we're talking about? Well, specifically, I'm talking about an aerobic or oxygenated compost tea. Now, you could make compost tea yourself at home with something as simple as a 5-gallon bucket. There are lots of great recipes online, and I encourage you to look around and find one. But make sure you are looking at an aerobically brewed tea and not an anaerobic tea. It can be done with as simple as 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of compost and some good organic liquid fertilizer. If that sounds like too much work for you, you can come out to most of the independent garden centers in town, as we do make compost tea and have it available for sale. Now, aerobically brewed compost tea does have a short shelf life, so you want to make sure and get it and use it fairly quickly. Generally, it's only available on weekends, and you want to be able to get home and use it within the next 8 to 10 hours. To bring your soil back to life, this is Merrideth Jiles with Backyard Basics.